Hello everyone and welcome back to the High School Esports League Spring Major 2023. The 2023 season has begun? We're already one map down in which we saw a very strong performance. A one-sided affair, I guess you could say. Now we have two new teams coming in, St. Louis versus DGN Esports. So I personally am very much looking forward to this. We've got Fracture even as well as the map to make things even more spicy. Cairo, any sort of thoughts coming into this one based perhaps off of what we've seen in the previous game? Ooh, first of the year! A trial by fire. He's now been baptized. He's back on the casting desk, everyone. Put your hands together for Cairo Cast.
Oh, there we are. Fantastic. Well, do you know what, Haz, I was about to say, like, with HSEL, I mean, I've been here before, but this is my first time ever actually doing it on this broadcast, so, you know, it has to be done at least once to make it an official cast.
Yeah, that's right. It's not like it's industry standard broadcast software or anything.
Definitely not. Definitely not the fact that I do this like almost like every like 5 broadcasts or something like that.
Yeah. Oh well. Look, anyway, it is what it is, right? Yeah, I think you were probably alluding to the fact that there isn't too much to take away from the last game now coming into this one. It could be a completely different thing, so we might as well sit here and glorify your errors on the desk until we get into that game of Fracture. No worries, mate.
I love it when the public are watching and I get criticised. You know, but you know it's public humiliation, so I learn not to do it again.
Right.
You know, oh come on.
Look, mate, some people are into that kind of thing, so look, I won't knock you for it.
Let's not get into that. Let's not get into that. Just,
look, Fracture being the map, I guess we could probably make some based on what the agents are going to be, and well, maybe we'll be spared that entirely as we go straight in. And Neon on the cards for Ray. I like this one quite a lot, and actually looking at the agents that back it up, this looks fairly similar to what the old Optic Cores comp was on this map. Only difference being, I believe, the Killjoy for a chamber, but in terms of the supportive roles, you've got your Brim on the smokes, which is going to increase the delay quite a lot. Same with Clappy and Flame in the window on the breach and the KO. And well, that's one of the Clappies. We've got capital C Clappy and lower C Clappy.
I think the Clappies we refer to as their agent name, and the Clappers would be clapping ourselves in the back with the amount of times that we mistake a Clappy for a Clappy. Do you know what I think?
Yeah, it's honestly, when you say mistake a Clappy for something, when you say it like that, it sounds really derogatory. So
why? What?
I don't know. It sounds like a Scottish insult. I don't know.
Right,
I've been watching too much Scottish TV.
Yeah,
I think you call someone a dafty, but not a Clappy. A Clappy's like fairly similar enough, right?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, obviously you're referring to still gaming,
of course.
What's it called? But you know what? We won't talk about that. What we will talk about though is the attacking side and the fact that in terms of Sentinel and Duelist, we've got a little bit of a change.
Yeah, we do. Killjoy on the one hand, Clappy has one, and then Foggy's going to be on the Cypher. So they both have their merits and their drawbacks. I think really Killjoy is probably the slightly better pick starting out on the defense, and I think Foggy will probably find most of their value on the attack here as well, because you have the neural theft if you want to play slow, play for picks. The global use of tripwires will also mean that maintaining presence across the map will be a lot easier for them to try and do. Fracture, notorious, 4 orbs, 4 corners, 2 different sides to it, and a zip line connecting the whole thing together can be difficult to keep a grip on at times. So it's a decent choice to be bringing through. Looking at this one as a whole, I would say as well, DGN is probably a more well-rounded comp. I prefer Raze as a duelist based on the amount of utility damage she's able to do, making her more versatile on both sides. It forces Ray to get aggressive, and it seems like that may be what they're opting for here immediately in A main.
Yeah, already util being flung out there just to deny or delay any pushes coming through, and they've completely taken up the main position as well, the Keo. And the Neon, just slowly waiting, but they're not wanting to get caught out. And I think they might have heard something because they went straight back towards site, whether that be on drop or whether that be actually from main. They seem to have some sort of response, but I don't know what it is to exactly.
One of our Clappies, Clappy 1, Clappy 2, I don't know, you can choose. On the breach, most importantly, we see hanging around towards that defender spawn side, which is always a good position for the agent because they can be called to action where necessary. And that action has already broken out. The fault line coming through, the flash even to go on the front foot, but does get taken out. And these trades favor DGN so brilliantly now as they have full control of A. The spike makes its way on over and should be getting planted at a moment's notice.
Yeah, just making sure that no one is under the site or has snuck their way under as those fights ensued, and there has been the rotates to come through. All the players stuck in CT, and they're starting to do a little bit of work, getting that turret out for contact, etc. But the fact that Sui hasn't taken any damage and lurks below, like a shark in the depths, they go up and get their prey. There's one left to get, and it is a Scarlet Spider crawling, scattering, scuttering. Can they find at least one? Yes, they can. But there's still 3 to go. Sui chases. The time gets lower and lower, but that's Sui with a 4K on the round.
Yeah, Sui in name, Sui in nature. Very nicely done from them on the pistol round. 4 kills for the Raze player, getting off to a good start. And there it is, actually. I thought that the lock-in knife had come through. It has, at least in NA. I'm sat here being an EU pleb, and I can't get my hands on it. But it's in the game now, and Clappy is demonstrating it to us with a nice little inspect as well. Brilliant.
Yeah, and I love the look of the Damascus element as well on the blade.
Yeah, I literally just so we were looking at it off broadcast, and yeah, that was the first thing that stuck out to me. I mean, look, we're not really doing our job properly if we're just sat here talking about skins, but it is interesting that it is already in the game. Yeah, man, come on, show us some love. I thought it was, VCT for like 3 different regions.
Well, it's only 5 days away. It's only 5 days away. Let's not get too excited.
That's a real Valentine's Day. Watching Paper X versus Cloud9, I tell you that right now.
Yeah.
And, you're happy now. Makes someone very sad inside the site. Ray getting taken out and finding that kill. 3 versus 3. This is not bad for St. Louis right now.
It's not, but the thing is, though, that is bad is let's look at this post plan. All 3 players already lined up on towards the main position. They're going to have to fight here, to be honest, the way the spike's being planted, and they're not going anywhere near the door just because of what will be set up. The boom bot sent through to clear out sands, no one close by, and look at that spike. It's already planted just outside. The spam comes through, they don't quite hit. Here comes a molly, here comes one of the players. Oh no, this might not be working the way we want it to. DGN really need to make sure to hit the lineups, hit the mark. They do with the fragment, and they will deny the defuse. Clappy doing the best what they can, but it's not even been half. They'll get the final kill, but they won't get the defuse.
You know what, mate? They may not have gotten the defuse there, but St. Louis did not go out without a fight whatsoever. St. Louis, I'm not really sure. Whenever it's spelt like that, you can never be so certain, but I'm pretty sure St. Louis is a place, so we'll go with that. Yeah, they've done so much damage there, and it has reduced DGN now into a position where they've got to either commit to fully investing here or go half and look towards the next round because of how much of a mess was made out of the previous. I think they had absolutely everything to keep it clean, but St. Louis did such a brilliant job because you look at so much util in main. Even the boombot out was buying even more time as Clappy had to go back and try and re-clear it. Now they got the full investment to back things up. This is the surefire round that they should be picking.
Now, in terms of how things are going, the pace has been taken all the way back. The slider pull to literally just ticking over. They know there's a player wanting to peek out. It is Clappy with the lowercase c, and they're putting so much utility to just deny that peek and pick up the orb. Elsewhere, though, if you look towards A, there is a little bit of an engagement happening, and it is Flame in the window taking out Battle Pants.
Swarm grenade out.
It's a nice opener. DGN, one of the strengths that they would have had coming into this is the numbers available to them. Masui continues to bear on down towards this tower position. But lowercase Clappy has clapped a couple players and now made it a position where there's only 2 remaining. Sui giving a few audibles off as they continue to creep closer towards the site, but may meet a miserable end. Not going to happen. Shots out of the Stinger brings them an upgrade to the Guardian. 2 sets of reloads later, and they're finally ready to get going. But there's only 20 seconds left on the clock, and Breach is still clambering on forward with the spike in possession. Angles already set up, need to be dismantled with the set of utility as the fights do begin to take place. A nice shot onto Scarlet Spider, but look at the spike way out in the open. And Sui doing their very best to try and isolate this. Not going to happen. May just hold on to a weapon at the very least. Even the paint shells won't be enough to take a player out.
Yeah, I mean, did the best they could, got rid of 2 guns, big effort on the bonus, and on top of that, I mean, it was not too bad. They tested the A site, oh sorry, not the A site, the B site, got a good kind of description of what's going on there with the KG up in tower, etc., and the Brim helping out. So that's something that they can kind of take some information back and think about how they're going to be doing this. As well as that, they also saw that the Neon and the KO were taking early space main after we saw the kind of breach stun on towards that position. So that's something else to think about here for DGN.
We've seen St. Louis already multiple times take this main control, but is going to be immediately challenged by DGN this time around. A nice flash drive out through the sky smoke. Now has Flame in the window, pinned to the corner, and immediately taken down. Very nicely done. Couple of players in to defend the site, but they're dropping one at a time, taking very, very singular fights here. No support whatsoever, and DGN just pick away at their problems, looking to move up to a third as it's another 2 versus 5, but opposite way around this time.
Yeah, it's just like a game of Kerplunk. So many, or the opposite of Kerplunk, I should say, is like putting swords in, and every single time they're connecting with something, penetrating someone's armor. It's just so harsh. Clappy just decides to tuck tail and run, keep the Vandal that they have, and you know, it's a fair enough decision because the next round might be a harsher one as well.
Yep, Tuxtail turns away and gives us another look at the knife. Yeah, in terms of the way that round panned out, DGN were very smart to contest the A main position.
Yes.
You could probably make an argument about it not being a necessity for that to happen within the opening stages of the round, but that their presence there in general was something that needed to be met, a criteria for them to have success in the round if they weren't going for a fast push elsewhere. But maybe St. Louis were somewhat caught off guard by the fact that the presence was there almost immediately. And it's that lack of resistance which they met it with, and the timidly taken individual fights, which was catastrophic. Now DGN up to 3 and against a much weaker buy.
Yeah, they're not taking that early space this time. But I tell you what, they all will be taking 2 big L's, 2 big deaths, 1 inside of main and 1 elsewhere. I think that might have actually been 2 inside of main. No, it was 1 inside of dish, sorry. So now this is where things get tough.
They're fighting on both fronts, but ill-supported. Ray, the only player remaining, had to try and disengage, but instead takes the only fight that they know they're able to and ends up losing out. Another substantial numbers advantage, which will slowly get chipped away with here as DGN do have control of the site, brings the lockdown online. And now there is a visible win condition for St. Louis from this position. Only issue is that the orbital strike remains the checkmate online to deal with such a threat, and even then also an avenue for post plant. Foggy dropping down, removing lowercase Clappy from the situation, and now Scarlet Spider has to try and ease their way through this one. Finds the first kill, needs to get on the spike sooner rather than later. This must be a full stick, and it's not going to happen. Battle Pants sticks them to the floor, and that is now a 4th for DGN.
I mean, I'm really liking the way that DGN are playing this in terms of everything that's been happening, has it? I mean, the one adaptation that Ray tries to make, rather than taking main, go towards dish, and they get completely found out. Instead of rather going 5, or I think it was like 4 main last time, they went and split the A site and completely tore apart what was there. I mean, was totally well played, and I mean, the A site looks completely vulnerable as well.
Yeah. definitely exploiting a weakness, as the one Sentinel which St. Louis have is positioned towards B on, and has been for the majority of the rounds, if we exclude perhaps the pistol, I believe it was. DGN now looking to explode towards B using the Rolling Thunder from underneath, but this isn't going to get anybody. All of them are playing off-site with the information that DGN possess. Quite a few oppressive ults. Clappy with the spam through the back of their own utility and actually claims that first kill on the entry. So now they have the numbers which they need to make this retake happen. Null Command also invested so much layering to what it is that the defending team have to try and work with here, and they slap it on one piece at a time to shut down DGN, as the spike has not even been planted.
It was like a game of rock, paper, scissors with those ultimates, and now there's only one left. One player left, that is. But let's not count out Foggy, especially when you have that neuro theft. They will know exactly where to look, exactly where to fight. Nice flash drive to come through there just to get them off the angle. Oh, but now they've found the last remaining player, and, well, both just clamber together and take the last one down. I mean, it was totally well played from the very start of the round, Hazard.
The trade in ultimates is fairly beneficial for St. Louis there as well, because you bring offline the Rolling Thunder and the Orbital Strike. Both have opportunities to be used in an execute in post plant, but don't really contribute anything for DGN in that situation. The adaptation to play from offsite with the knowledge that DGN have those in their back pocket was really nicely done. Perhaps, I suppose, the lockdown wasn't really worth too much, but when you can trade it for the Orbital Strike, it doesn't really make too much difference, and now they've got a couple of their own to bring online.
They do, but there's a couple of them going offline. That's a lot of spam on towards Ray. And, I mean, already getting dropped in the KO, dropped low as well. No sort of way of bringing back that health either.
No, that's one of my main worries when I saw the push coming in from Dish, is that St. Louis have gone for these early aggressions a few times from the defender's side. It's the precedent that is set when you have a Neon player, and it's not really amounted to much. Another casualty felt, and a real chunk of damage onto Window as the execute now comes through off the back of the Null Command. Clappy trying to get involved, but here comes the showstopper, but it's put immediately to an end. A trade 2 for the singular life of the Killjoy player within the site is a fairly decent investment. And actually, we see the plant cancelled. Clappy's managed to flash himself on the way through a calamitous state of affairs, and it's one which actually results in DGN taking the round.
Hazard, I'm figuring something out. Though the team to use the most ultimates has been the team to lose.
I guess that is perhaps a trend that you could take away. But I mean, I guess even then, what we saw a showstopper and an ult command from DGN. That was 2 ultimates, and St. Louis only used 1. So I think you need to go back to school, get your maths up.
Mate, my maths is actually usually. No, I was going to say usually maths is one of my strong points, but not this time.
Yeah, I mean, mate, you've got a degree in computing or something. You would hope so, wouldn't you?
Just watch here, Hazard.
All that stack overflow has numbed your mind, and oh my goodness, Foggy will numb a couple players. It's going to feel like that. Swings out and is able to find 2 yet again. The early presence that St. Louis are trying to levy here is doing absolutely nothing to help, only hinder them. Scarlet may be good for a single kill here. Perhaps an opportunity for DGN to back up off the knowledge that there was someone there with the 0 point, but no. Able to find 2 kills, even throws a reload in the mix, and look, not the way I was anticipating the round to end, but it does come to a DGN win all the same.
This has been really good Valorant being played so far, Hazard. I mean, Foggy getting that double kill did not deserve with the amount of bodies they're stacking up. But I mean, when you're on such low HP, when you're on an eco, that is the kind of, I guess, horribleness that you will sometimes come up against. DGN actually kind of read it well. They had the breach done already, primed from the get-go to stop that push being so quick, but I mean, they just dealt with it anyway with just gun skill.
Yeah. Seen a quick change here from how lowercase Clappy wants to approach their take on the B defense. a little more aggressive in arcade, has all the util for main, sneaking out to try and find the first, gets it. Perhaps not aware of the second. Foggy invited to swing off the back of a brilliant breach stun, and that has completely opened up the B site. Also given extra room with the withdrawal of Killjoy utility for the players to crunch in from main. And now with it under wraps, we also have an orbital strike online from which they can look to defend it.
Yeah, I like the positioning of the players here as well has already. The util just for delay, although Breach getting a little bit happy there. They're doubling up on the Brim. That is going to be, I guess, the win condition for here. The line up for the Molly, but doesn't hit on time. That might not work. Ray sometimes, somehow answers back. It's one left and it's Foggy to win out with a 3K. Actually had to rescue the round as the Breach, or the Brim, sorry, decided to swing.
Yeah, it's a curious decision, I guess. At the same time, you have to also consider that you want to be able to have a position to trade for your teammate, safe in the knowledge that the Incendiary would soon be coming to join the fray. As long as you can bring a player off of the immediate defuse, you have the insurance policy for the late round. And yeah, like you said, it was quite a late one to actually drop in towards where the spike is. So that's another reason being that we do see the Brim player get themselves out there to bring through the early stall. But it's the early round, lowercase Calapi, that you know, goes for the fight. Perhaps a little bit risky, completely opens up the B site for DGN, and we've gone to a timeout.
Yeah, we have gone to a timeout. I mean, realistically, it doesn't feel like a 7-2 game between these two because of the ideas that's been put forward, the gunfights that's happening, literally coming down to the last second. But the thing is, though, DGN just have always been finding a way to win out the rounds, and I think this is what St. Louis need to sit down and talk about, because this can really slowly, if they don't start to like find that finishing line, but their lead becomes to start to kind of be unreachable at that point.
Looking at the buy for this round, it certainly isn't a pretty sight, and as you quite rightly mentioned, it doesn't feel like a game which has been so far adrift from St. Louis at this point in time, as Ray has just jumped completely over the trap wire on flank, popped the overdrive even, but it has now sent Happy into an overdrive of their own, a rampant search forward to find more kills. The bloodlust continues. The even battle plans will be able to save the pants of Clappy by taking them out.
Yeah, taking them out completely. And the last remaining players are splitting up, one going silently over the wire, and now the crunch begins. Maybe there's not a crunch, maybe it's a double up.
No, it didn't go silently. Saw them speed up as they were heading on through. It's allowed for TACME to reposition here. First flash drive will dissuade them from the angle. How much more utility comes through? Not sure just yet. This should be a pickup for Clappy at the very least. A body shot, more than enough damage to fell them, but Foggy is on the scene. Ever present, this Cypher player, a brilliant addition to the DGN lineup, and with 10 rounds played, it's a very strong swing into the favor of DGN.
Yeah, it certainly is, Hazza. And well, on top of that, I mean, you know what? Good round nonetheless. Most of the damage was done in the early round. The last two were really stuck with what to do. Now it's all about this round. What can they do? What can the defenders do? What are they going to change up?
Yeah, we'll have to see. It doesn't look like too much, if we're being entirely honest. Been playing in the last few rounds, at least, when they decided that overbearing a main presence wasn't working out, to bring that Brim more towards the B side instead and maintain both initiators in close proximity to the Neon as to activate her abilities best. But even then, look at this 1v1 being taken on Dish. Flame wins it out this time around, but still risky business being played by St. Louis. They do have ults to fall back on, however.
Yeah, risky business, but at the same time, though, I mean, you have to sometimes put some money down to get some money back, and well, that odds now look ever so slightly in St. Louis' favour, especially when you think of those ultimates, especially when you don't clear your corners, unfortunately, not able to get more than one, but here comes the orbital strike, being forced in towards tower, and the assault begins, only 4 remaining of the attack on this site, the null command popped as well, Sui left all the way out in arcade with the spike down on site. They could even bring the KO back online if they really wanted to. And I think that's exactly what's going to happen. The spam not quite hitting the mark, but Sui's giving away their spot, and now everybody begins to close in.
Look at the time. I mean, you say close in. They've actually gone for the opposite, spread out and tried to maximize the coverage of the site with the spike dropped down in the middle of it. A wallbang from Flame will claim a 3rd round for St. Louis, who look to be on an upward trajectory, at least in that round. It started off with another, as I said, very risky duel being taken towards Dish, one which hasn't gone their way the last few times, but it does on this occasion, and that's enough to set them off on a forward path, which has led to converting around. Full investment for both teams coming into the final one here. Both Sentinels either on their ult or close to getting it. Orbital strike and lockdown sort of synergy between the two counterplay is something we'll have to look towards, as everything will be left out on the table coming into this final round of the half.
Oh no, that's not the way you wanted to start this, Hazard.
That's what we're talking about, right? Those overextensions, completely unnecessary. Lowercase Clappy gets punished, and this is the green light yet again for DGN to take control of the B site. St. Louis were able to get in on the retake last time around, but that's your Killjoy player dropped, so no lockdown to give you an extra entrance, and now we have to worry about what that post looks like.
Oh, that was a lovely piece of utility there. I don't know if you saw it, was the Brim Molly combined with the Aftershock. Absolutely gorgeous. The Breach didn't know where to go, and now in this situation, I mean, where do these players know where to go in terms of taking this retake? You obviously have the orbital strike as a win condition for later on. Ray at least eliminates one of those players, one of those guns that could cause problems. There's another gun. Here comes the orbital strike. It misses, and elsewhere, higher case, Lord, whatever it is, Clappy claps down on 3. Very well played from St. Louis. From what looked bleak at that first frag, becomes very, very profitable.
Yeah, it's a brilliant retake in the end from them. Like you quite rightly noted, the combination of utility towards that pocket in the corner, flushing players out and dealing a great load of damage onto the one who ended up being affected by it. I believe that would have been Takmi. And yeah, they're able to rectify things. It was a great team effort, and we're going to need to see a lot more of that from St. Louis on their attacking half. But with the Neon in the comp, the support that they have to try and set this player up, there's absolutely every chance that this could be exactly what they need to make things better. But then when you look at counterplay and what we have on the other side, DGN with a Cypher now on defense, the trips in place, can be a pretty hard counter to a lot of what Neon tries to achieve.
This is going to be a really interesting pistol round in terms of the score as well and momentum. Say, for instance, Louis win this, Hazard, you're really looking at an interesting couple of rounds following, and I mean, DGN are not wanting that to happen at all. A quick 2 frags, and St. Louis on the back foot already.
Yeah, primary initiation lost. Half of your secondary initiator cut out of them. Empty screws loose and scattered across the ground. And St. Louis are gonna scatter here as well towards B. The Cypher setup, which will be there to greet them. O2 happy to collect further information as the spy cams already heard footsteps. Foggy will be repositioning more towards the arcade side of things. Posting up away, just holding on to tower to make this retake easier for DGN. Nice incendiary to the corner, straight to the crosshairs. Foggy finds the kill. Spike now placed on the ground. Bullets looking to be placed in the back, and it's only Flame late to the party, which will have to try and find some kind of impact on this. Not going to happen. Foggy claims their 3rd, and DGN will be up to a 9th.
Yep, well played. I mean, Foggy their impact on this game overall cannot be understated. Their brain is absolutely massive. Has the fact that, I mean, you hear the kind of, like, you hear the first steps coming through. I mean, already they're like, right, well, at this point we can just step out and head towards arcade, because the majority of players should be coming from main. Yes, we did actually see the KO come from arcade, but they were so late. They didn't get to have an impact on Foggy, which was lucky. Playing for kill trips as well, rather than the spacing, is another thing that we need to look out that setup on B.
Oh, it's going to be a stinger rush straight into Sui's Ares, which will just mow them down, it seems like. Finally, the rest of DGN will chime in with some kills of their own. A bit scrappy, but the spike now in a very strong position that these defenders can look to defend it from in sand. Locked away under the key and watchful eye of those sky smokes as Takmi will now reposition. Clappy, from within the site itself, has so many obstacles to try and hurdle over if this is to be made doable, and you're looking at a 10th, perhaps even an 11th now, because of how much of an investment was made.
That's the scary thing, is that possible 11th as well, due to the money. I mean, that's really needed to hit. Can Clappy make this one hit? Nice flash through, gets the first, the spam comes through, but misses by inches. Well played from Takmi. The brim there, I mean, realistically, he has if they peeked out a little bit too much, that was their life gone.
Yeah, clings on by an absolute feather. And right now, DGN are looking as strong as steel the opposite way around. Up to double digits. The 11th now beckons them, and we've seen a fairly decent investment across the board. A couple of pistols. I expect them to move more in line with those SMGs and LMGs. At least I hope so, right? Because this is a great chance for DGN to not only build up some extra economy, but build up the round count, build up the weapons that they can be carrying on forward. Against a set of sheriffs, you just gotta watch your head a little bit. Keep your neck in line.
Yeah. I mean, how many times have we seen a 145? Maybe some people can get lucky. You never know.
Depends what the range is looking like. If you're going towards B right now, I mean, that's a write-off in my eyes. Completely under wraps by Foggy. It's looking misty to say the least.
That's horrible.
That's where you wanted to go.
Look at the setup. We've got a Bucky under A, and Sui's just waiting with a blast pack in pocket. This could end in disaster.
A shorty.
Yeah.
He's bought a shorty on an anti-eco round. The confidence that these guys have is ridiculous, and up close and personal, we'll be trading it for a sheriff. Damage dealt all across the board. The incendiary just shy. Clappy able to get the plant on through, and that Bucky has now sifted itself into the hands of these attackers and could be potent at the close-up range from which they now look to defend this spike plant, but going for the extra peaks, not panning out. Even the Bucky shot won't connect. DGN do claim their 11th.
Yeah, completely well played. I mean, the fact that we saw that shorty and play in that position, I was like, God, surely not. It's the team with the better weaponry. I just felt sorry, but at the end of the day, it was well played by DGN. They doubled up, they played as that in that kind of duo section. Well played from them, and there's not really much to kind of take away from that last round.
It's shotty season. That's what you've got to take away from it. I guess it's flu shot season, right? Or I think that's probably just about behind us right now. Yeah, I think that's fair to say. But I mean, look, guys, if you're vulnerable, make sure to get those flu jabs in. Get yourself the protection that you need. But the warm weather should be coming back soon enough, and turning up the heat, at least in A main, should be the Odin of the breach, but won't happen. Just about gets away with a blast pack, Sui, but Hot Pursuit is up and in arms behind them. Ray finds the kill. This is why you have the Neon in the comp. This is how you should be trying to play it. Dashing straight in off the back of the breach and KO utility. Almost unstoppable. Now the retake looking a little more difficult here for DGN.
Oh, and especially when Clappy does something like that. Getting a complete collapse gets the kills, but at the end of the day, the damage has already been done at the very start. Nice little combinations of Utah, which we haven't seen a lot, actually, when I think about it, from St. Louis. Thinking about the KO and the Breach supporting the Neon on these crazy wild adventures. We've not seen many of that.
Yeah, it's Neon's the main character with the supporting cast of the Initiators, you would think, but actually reading the scoreboard, it's the opposite way round. It's sort of like, I don't know, if you were a bad actor with some really good stagehands, it feels like, but hopefully St. Louis are able to do a little bit more now that they've got that first round on the board, and Ray was a pivotal part in finding the previous, but this Cypher setup's been here the whole time, man. They've not fully tested it just yet, and I don't think off the back of a win, this would be the time to try and challenge it, if there is any. Just preparing themselves to go on through.
I mean, look at the position of the defenders, though. They're off the site. They were waiting for maybe something like that. A Rolling Thunder to come through. And all the players were already close proximity to actually begin the rotate and get close by. There is an ultimate if they want to use it. Maybe even two if the Showstopper comes through and an Orbital Strike. But it's not going to be. It's going to be purely gunfights. And Ray gets the first. Make Flame in the window getting a second. Oh my god, the head's falling. Nice shots from Foggy.
Oh! Really few nice Sheriff shots there to open things up for them on the round. Still an uphill battle, claims yet another kill. Is there anything that these Sheriffs cannot do? Maybe win the round, I guess, right now, because it is only the Breach player left in this 1 versus 2 against the two most upstanding members of St. Louis to bring their second consecutive round over the line. We'll get the first at the very least, but looks to be dying to the spike here as well. And there we have it. 6 now for them, the gap reduced to 5. And DGN, while that 11th may have been almost a guarantee for them, everything else must be fended for from this point onwards.
This is getting a little bit interesting. Very, very costly. I mean, has the economy not exactly as secure as what you would think for either team, especially with DGN getting 3 rounds in a row at that very start. It is very, very. It's going to be like trampoline rounds for both. I mean, if DGN have to equal another, St. Louis can really start to close that gap quickly.
Trampoline round, but the question is, do they have a spring in their step? We have to remember that previous round from DGN was a very low investment, as we're seeing a fake here towards B. Sui posting up close, but then just perhaps looking away towards the map at the pivotal moment. Lockdown actually getting taken out by the orbital strike, which comes to absolutely zero value because A has already been expended, and so too have the lives of the players in close distance to it.
Battle Pants knows about this look as well. I mean, it's going to be... Oh, God, no. Oh, that's so rough. Clappy gets found out, but Scarlet Spider just in a horrible position. Almost like one of those trapdoor spiders, have you ever seen one? Just pops out, collects, and goes back in towards their hole. Now only Battle Pants to find, what, 4 players? Especially with the time ticking down. This is looking, I mean, massively unlikely.
Certainly. The flash was the second step instead of the first step of clearing the close corner. Almost like in a cartoon when the character's trying to cross a bridge and a plank is missing. The next thing they know, they've fallen into a deep, dark abyss. And right now, instead of being a fall, perhaps of sorts, a plummet to the bottom, St. Louis are doing a fantastic job at scaling their way back up from the crevasse that they were dropped into within that first half. This attacking side suddenly looking a lot more healthy for them. Ray beginning to find the necessary kills, a nice fake on the previous round as well, and this time it will just be pedal to the metal. A hard hit straight in towards A, and DGN forced to completely turn away from this, leaving only Breach in the corner with the judge, but trades out for 2.
Oh, Hazard though, but then you're seeing trades out for 2. Look at the other 2 coming in. And there was Stingers and the like being bought up, so it might not be even that bad a buy in terms of actually combating these players, because this is a very close quarters site. The peak comes through, but they've already managed to escape in towards me, and the post plant now set up. How do they deal with it?
Clappy just waiting to drop on down. Might even use the flash, but will completely forgo it. Sprays them down one by one. A brilliant transfer into the Classic to close up shop. And now we're within 3 rounds. DGN just about coming into this half with the way they started. We're only 3 off moments ago from closing things out. But yeah, this game can change ever so quickly. The momentum always shifting, and another pickup for them here would be the biggest spell of rounds found by any team consecutively so far within the map, boding very well for their chances at turning things around.
There is an up on B main, has, and this is where the majority of the push is coming in from already. Sui dropping off deep in towards the site, paint shells to try and get anybody off the angle, but with the smokes going down, it makes the angle even shorter, which might favour a Vandal and could easily be a fake, could easily try and bait these opponents. They've broke the conditioning where they've been continuously hitting A, but what do they do with the lockdown online?
We now have into the buy round actually a committal of the Cypher utility towards A instead. Lockdown just preparing itself to be committed towards what seems to be a B execute, as players on both ends are preparing themselves, also aware that there could be a flank, an overcommittal from DGN, but it's not really in their playstyle when we consider how they've been. The 0 point just a moment too late, as finally it will become committed. And yeah, now into the retake, that operator looking even worse than it was previous.
Yeah, I mean, having a retake with an op is one of the things you just hate to see. The player's already through after the fragment dissipates, nobody caught, and well, the spike being down. It's all about setting up this post plant and how they do it safely, especially with a Rolling Thunder being procced.
Look how many ults are available to DGN here. Out comes the null command and the Rolling Thunder. Showstopper to back things up. Should be getting at least one, and does. Trades out, but still, St. Louis have such good positions to just close things down. The crossfire's there, and DGN lower their heads into the meat grinder. Only 2 now separate the teams, and there comes the second timeout of the game.
Yeah, I think it was coming for a while, to be honest. Has a DGN messing that retake up completely, but I wouldn't necessarily say messing it up. I think St. Louis actually had a pretty decent kind of post plant, and it was hard for DGN to even have a chance. They had the smokes blocking off their vision. How do you find out exactly where things are? You had to wait on the Cypher cam coming back, but the spike's already down, and the lockdown, you were waiting to go away. So all in all, I think it was just unlucky for DGN, but again, there's a lot of rounds in a row that they've lost. They need to find a winning formula.
That they do. And now it's a real predicament for DGN, because you changed up what the Cypher setup was. It had been countered a few times before, and then nobody's tested you towards A. St. Louis just continue to hit towards B as they have been doing, and it just didn't seem to work out whatsoever. The lockdown completely nullified the investment of the op that we saw from Sui.
Yeah.
And it's a half buy to now keep them away from this being within 1, which is a ridiculous turn of events. This is a real stark contrast to what we saw in the first game, when a lead was established and ran away with, as you would expect. But the revitalization of St. Louis on their attacking half has been nothing short of spectacular thus far. Ooh,
okay.
So we might want to put a helmet on, banging their head on the ceiling like that. And there we go. St. Louis just bite on down and crunch away. The rotate coming through, but ooh, I mean, what do they want to do? A bit of a left to right, a mambo jambo, a salsa of sorts, getting the hips involved.
A mambo number 5, is that what you're telling me?
Yeah, I think so. We're down to only 3 players left, so this would be mambo number 3. Yeah. I don't know what happened to the first 4, but here we have it. That's the 3 for Flame as well, I guess. Battle plants getting found, and there we are. We are within 1, and look at the ultimates that St. Louis now have to try and work with coming into what is the most pivotal round. DGN lose here, the scoreline is leveled, and the next thing you know, you're walking into an 11-11 equal score on a low investment, and there's only really 1 stab that you get at seeing this out in regulation.
Not only that, though, things it might be even worse than just a low investment. A couple of players are on 0 credits investing in towards this round. Therefore, moving into the round when it's your actual investment round, I mean, things could be even bleaker. You could be on light shields. You might not even be able to upload a rifle.
Look at this. Taking the underneath control, so proactive from DGN, but Foggy just runs out of bullets. Clappy happy to take 2. And will actually just walk away from the whole situation. Save the Rolling Thunder for that pivotal gun round of sorts that could be coming up sooner rather than later. Ridiculous stuff. And now the sole hero will have to be Takmi on towards A site. Lasers being shot out. It's a light show from Ray on this attacking half. Wanting to get close and personal. No. Does find one. And now it's a 3 versus 3, but still some big bank ultimates waiting in the wings.
Not only that, though, I think as well, the fact that the agent that they got was KJ. So in terms of information and what's actually going on, they don't know. They can't spam off of an alarm bot. The Rolling Thunder is being held, so they're waiting for a second tap, which does come through. There's the orbital strike first. They dip out. DGN gets 1, though. There goes Ray. They still have 2 to find. Here comes more of the utility. And Clappy just cleans up.
Clappy for 4. The silver lining there for DGN is that St. Louis did expend the majority of their ultimate economy, but still possessed the null command. In that situation, it looked like they may not even need it. You had the incendiary come out first. There was so much util to be worked with there for the attacking team. And yeah, it's a half buy. St. Louis are going to be coming into this with pretty much everything they could be possibly looking for. Both of these teams will want to make sure that they have those ults online by the next round. I would perhaps have liked to have seen the breach of DGN look for something a bit more aggressive and get those ult points up and available so the Rolling Thunder is there into the next. But Sui has managed to isolate this fight, and this is huge now with a rifle in hand.
It's even bigger when you consider the fact that it was the breach who's been a lot of the stall potential from St. Louis. The thing is, in a 3 versus 2, I mean, 1 head might be enough to equal things out, especially when you've got, Happy now trying to engage on a judge. The health both low on either players, but the judge is going to finish them off. It's all up to Scarlet Spider as the ghost rings off. A thrifty round comes through, and the unimaginable comes in for DGN. They're the first to reach map and match point.
Unimaginable, like you said. This is just ridiculous scenes that we're seeing pan out in front of us right now. St. Louis sold us a dream that they'd be coming back into this, even put themselves in a position where it should have been their name lighting up 12 on the scoreboard. But now DGN only 1 away from converting this best of 1 matchup in the High School Esports League. So a timeout is called. St. Louis didn't feel like they had to. We're just taking things 1 round at a time, and I guess it just speaks to the quality that both of these teams have from their attacking halves, that it's gone so long without any intervention required and been such incredibly one-sided affairs. Even the previous half that we saw from DGN on their attacking side, I don't think was even as dominant as how St. Louis have been right now, simply after what was a half built on the pistol round for DGN. They got up to 11 and haven't found anything for what I believe has been sort of 7 or 8 rounds since. So now we are just moments away. But and look, they've got the ults to work with here as well.
Yeah, exactly. The fact that you've got all the ults to work with, the fact that you now have a complete full investment. I mean, Ray stuck out. Oh, I thought it was a pistol. Never mind. They were just on the pistol now. I hate how that happens.
Happens every time, man.
Yeah,
happens every time. Indecisive.
The point I was making was the fact that they're now basically ready and probably the more advantageous position for DGN.
Certainly is. And it's another question as well, which has been playing on their mind. Where is Foggy going to be setting up this Cypher utility? It's A, he won't be immediately present to capitalize from it, but does have a teammate who will be waiting, and the spy cam has already collected some information about these players blindly charging through the cyber cage. None of them tagged, and that's the utility dealt with. Site given away for free, and an opportunity for DGN to move into post. Big ults to be working with, but they have to understand that most of these guys aren't going to be on the site. That Scarlet Spider down though, and a lot of what the stall you had available to you now immediately gone. Foggy working in through the backlines, doing decent damage but eventually dropping. Here we go, lockdown being invested, but I don't think this is even going to be enough. The spike sits without its reach at the very end of the radius, already halved, going for the rest of the stick, but it's ill-advised. Clappy clamps down, and we will be going to overtime.
That lockdown was massive, Hazza. I actually liked what Foggy did. Foggy came in through the backlines and actually had to challenge Main, which I think realistically St. Louis should have prioritised rather than staying on the spike. And the thing is though, that is only good in retrospect. I mean, realistically the spam through the smoke was enough.
Exactly.
And that's just sometimes the way the cookie crumbles.
Yeah, I think the lockdown more than anything else just piled on the pressure. Wasn't, you know, crazy for value by the by, but it just increases the tempo of the round, which was coming to a bubbling point there as well. Because, I mean, you even saw when you let a team move into the site in such a fashion with no kind of way to contest things, other than the Cypher wires, which were placed at a distance and quite easily dealt with here by St. Louis, you put yourself in a difficult situation, one which wasn't able to be overturned, and now DGN have to cast their minds back all the way to the first half, which seems to be a long time ago now, and find out what was working for them. A lot of that A presence used to be the answer. Will it bear the same fruits this time around? There's the first kill onto Ray. Things starting to repeat themselves, but Flay, here's Flame just completely shutting them down. Finds so many kills now. It's going to be a 3 versus 2.
Oh, what a shot! What a shot from Battle Pants! My goodness gracious me! I mean, my pants would come off after a shot like that, but Clappy just claps Battle Pants down, and now this is where things get interesting. They're now in the post plant, the molly hits, but it's going to be half, so things get even more worrying. At least both players are low, so the spam could be enough to at least get them through. Is it going to be a repeat of the last half? Everything that went through for DGN went against DGN. Here comes the orbital strike and a clutch from Tag Me.
They move to the corner and get shut down by the orbital strike. It's the spam we were speaking about. So much damage already dealt by the incendiary. You can half the spike all you like, but the spam through the smoke's ridiculous. That's 2 rounds in a row now that it's happened. But on this occasion, it's DGN who are able to make the most of the bad situation. Neither of these teams have been too good at prying away control from A main once things move into an afterplant for both teams. And now St. Louis have to go back to what will be a little more familiar territory for them on their attacking half. Foggy moving the setup towards B. Fairly passive on A, but we do have Breach posted in the corner, and I think that's an Odin.
I think you're right, Hazza. The thing is, though, it's not the Odin you need to worry about. It's this dish push. It's been completely given for free. And that means that they could easily look to the left and find out. Although Battle Pants is aware, takes out Clappy again. That Breach, a massive pickup. At least as a trade, so there's going to be no Breach for the rest of this round. And the players that try to bust out get taken down, mowed down, and a nice fragment placed.
Oh, I was going to say, look to be just shy of the mark, as a couple of the mollies we've seen to the left corner have been. But the kills are there. There is a flank from Dish, and Sui will clean up. DGN look to be sprinting towards the finish line now. Perhaps it was a marathon and not a sprint, but finally they take the ticker tape, take the best of one, and come out on top by the skin of their teeth, 14-12, prevailing as victors in the conclusion.
Hazza, that was a very high ceiling of Valorant, to be honest. A lot of good ideas, a lot of different executes. I mean, I think most of the executes when we watched them were fairly successful in getting the spike down. How many post plants did we actually watch on that fracture map?
Quite a lot. I think this is the case for Fracture fairly often. We see Cypher being so strong for having those kill trips sometimes, playing off of it. Even a few occasions where we had the Killjoy utility for Clappy, and they were able to sit at range and find ways to play around the nasty combination of both Brim and Breach, which we saw on both teams, and they made great value out of it on a number of occasions. But it was a completely ridiculous series. A nice step up from Battle Pants at the end there as well, perhaps leaving a brown stain or two in the underwear of their opponents with some ridiculous shots being hit. But after all that we've seen, we need to take some time to decompress. Perhaps not as much of an extended break as it was last time around, as the next set of games look to be coming forth. We have one more best of one for you guys to get treated to. But for now, going to a break. Oh, only 2 games. Is that us done? Oh, can't believe it. Cairo, a soul tear rolls across my cheek as we've only got 2 games for you guys. I'm sorry. Look, God. I don't like to make false promises, but I suppose it gives us a little moment extra to be sentimental on the desk, I suppose. We saved the best till last. That was a brilliant way to close out. Cairo, do you have any additional thoughts to really wrap things up in a bow? I've put the wrapping paper on. It's just for you to close and put it under the tree. Oh,
no bother. Well, what I'll say is thank you everybody for helping us out. I mean, we have Hippie, the first time we've actually worked with Hippie on production, so thank you for him. Hippie. Amazing at pushing the buttons, and obviously the wonderful Caroline. I mean, how many times have we worked with her? Her observations are amazing. And I mean, congratulations to you, Hazza. This is your first HSEL broadcast as well. I mean, that was a good one as well. I've been here many times, and it's been a blast.
It has been an absolute blast, mate. It's always a blast when we're on the desk. We find a way to make it happen, and look, we were really treated in that final series. Like I said, and like you mentioned, we have that supporting cast, the pillars of the NA collegiate scene in our presence to help things out and always make sure that things run as smoothly as possible. So thank you very much to them. Thanks to everyone at High School Esports League for having us on. With that, I bid you all farewell. Have an amazing rest of your evening, and we will see you soon.